Welcome to Explosive Nerd HQ, where comics come to life. Today it's all about Civil War number 4. The battle is heating up, so smash that explosive like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and tell us. Team Iron Man or Team Captain America? Now get ready because the story starts now. The story continues with Thor, the god of thunder, descending with all his might, wielding his powerful lightning bolts, in a scene of destruction and fire raging on all sides. Nearby, Falcon, Cable, Daredevil, and Valeria stand in awe. Falcon, wide-eyed, exclaims, "Thor!" Falcon, with a worried expression, continues to speak. "Thor, what are you doing?" "It's me, man, the Falcon." Valeria, fear etched on her face, says, "Where have you been? Everybody thought you were dead." Thor, preparing a powerful attack with his Mjolnir, his face filled with rage, responds, "No, Dagger, that would be you." He hurls Mjolnir, striking Falcon, Valeria, Cable, and Daredevil, who are violently knocked down. The scene continues with the heroes sprawled on the ground, surrounded by fire on all sides, and a light rain falling after being struck by Mjolnir. Valeria, with a terrified expression, says, "My God, this is wrong. We've got to get out of here. This is really, really wrong." Thor, fueled by intense rage, retorts, "Wretches, you're not going anywhere." As he grips Mjolnir and prepares a new attack with all his might, Thor unleashes a powerful strike with Mjolnir, slamming it into the ground, where some of Captain America's team stood. A massive explosion of lightning hurls everyone into the air. Meanwhile, Iron Man and Captain America continue their clash. Iron Man says, "Cap, please, don't get up. I don't want to hit you again. Your jaw's practically hanging off. Just surrender, and I'll get you medical attention from the SHIELD people out there." Captain America, battered and on the ground, shows determination. In the background, Thor's thunder rumbles. The captain responds, "You really think I'm going down? To some pampered punk like you?" Iron Man prepares a deafening sonic attack and says into the communicator, "Iron Man to all points, activate your audio blocks. This is going to hurt." Iron Man unleashes the sonic attack, shattering the glass windows behind the captain, who screams. Outside, Iron Man's team, protected from the sonic attack, watches as all the heroes on Captain America's team suffer from the deafening assault, clutching their ears to mitigate the damage to their eardrums. Invisible Woman, heartbroken by the situation, says, "My God, this is horrible. I can't even look." Thor glances back, and Mr. Fantastic speaks, "I don't like it either, Sue, but at least this way there's no broken bones. Stand down, Thor. The SHIELD cleanup squad can handle things from here." Iron Man looks closely at the captain and says, "You're a tough old bird. I'll give you that. This frequency puts the human brain into shutdown, but look at you. You're still getting up." Captain America, writhing in agony on the ground, hears Iron Man speak again. "I'm sorry, Cap. I'll try to make it quick. Just close your eyes and you'll wake up in our superhero detention center." The armor emits an alert. Emergency armor warning. Hercules, with his colossal strength, lifts a platform with a gas plant and leaps toward Iron Man and Captain America. Iron Man looks back and says, "Ha!" The armor issues another alert. Non-human attack registered. A massive explosion erupts, hurling Captain America into the air. Fire, debris, and black smoke rise. Meanwhile, Kate Bishop and Daredevil on the ground recover from the sonic attack. Kate says, "Somebody switched it off." Daredevil responds, "So what are you waiting for?" Captain America's team launches their attack. Goliath charges at Yellow Jacket. Daredevil strikes Spider-Man in the face with his batons. Kate prepares her arrow attack. Vision, soaring through the air, fires his eye lasers at Wonder Man. Meanwhile, Hulkling takes on the Thing. The battle reignites. Hercules bursts from the rubble, attacking Iron Man with tremendous force and shouting, "Falcon, see to Captain America. We need to get him out of here." Falcon, with his supersonic flight, responds, "Halfway there, Hercules." A massive boulder is about to crush Captain America. Before it can happen, Falcon rescues the captain with extreme speed and says into his communicator, "Cable, I need you to interface with Cloak's mind and activate a teleport. Everybody else can gather round and hitch a ride back home." SHIELD agents, ready to fire at Goliath, shout, "Open fire!" Goliath, with a serious expression, says, "You're kidding, right?" Meanwhile, he grabs a truck with his left hand and hurls it toward the agents, destroying the building entirely. Goliath stops in front of Thor, filled with rage, and yells, "Get ready for the shortest comeback in history." Thor, ready with his Mjolnir, responds, "I don't think so," and unleashes a powerful thunderbolt toward Goliath, piercing through him with force, blood spilling out. The story continues as Captain America's team witnesses Goliath being struck by Thor's mighty thunderbolt. Valeria exclaims, "My God!" Goliath collapses dead on the ground, destroying everything and sending some SHIELD agents flying. As Falcon passes by with Captain America in his arms, Valeria, with a desperate expression, says, "Thor just killed Goliath." Falcon shouts, "Fall back and regroup. We've got to get out of here or we're all going down." Thor, consumed with pure rage, charges another powerful attack and declares, "You are all going down." Thor unleashes his powerful attack again, a massive thunderbolt crashing toward Captain America's team. At the same moment, Invisible Woman creates a powerful force field to protect all the heroes on Captain America's team. Daredevil, in disbelief at what just happened, says, "Ha!" The immense effort to repel Thor's attack causes Invisible Woman's nose to bleed. With an unyielding expression, she says, "Get out of here, now!" With Captain America's team fully protected within Invisible Woman's force field, Patriot says, "What about our wounded and downed? We can't just leave them behind." Cable responds, "You're welcome to stay if it makes you feel better. So, everybody else, fall in tight. We're only going to get one shot at this." Falcon, at the center of the force field, says, "Susan, thank you." Suddenly, a dark cloak begins to form to teleport the heroes to safety. They vanish within the black cloak, and Mr. Fantastic approaches Thor, saying, "Shutdown code, Richard Wagner 1813 to 1883. Afterward, he places his hand on his head, visibly worried. The heroes on Iron Man's team discuss what happened. Yellow Jacket says emphatically, "What the hell happened? Reed, I thought you gave him some kind of directives. You said this guy would be just like the old Thor." Mr. Fantastic speaks to Invisible Woman, saying, "Sue, please, you've got to believe I had." Sue Storm, furious with Mr. Fantastic, responds, "Don't even speak to me. Don't say a damn word." Meanwhile, She-Hulk, Wonder Man, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Ms. Marvel check if Goliath is alive or not. Spider-Man says, "I thought you said you knew what you were doing, Tony." He continues, "I thought we were doing this so no one else got hurt." Tony Stark doesn't respond. Suddenly, a towering, imposing figure appears out of nowhere. His name is the Watcher. At Avengers Tower, nurses tend to the wounded. Now in Mr. Fantastic's laboratory, he examines the Thor clone. Meanwhile, the monitor shows an electronic Mjolnir connected to wires. Mr. Fantastic is about to insert something sharp into the Thor clone's skull. For more detailed examinations, Spider-Man sees Hank agitated and asks, "Are you okay, Hank?" Yellow Jacket, worried, responds, "No, Spider-Man, I am not okay. I just watched a new superhuman I helped create blow a hole through one of my oldest friends. Do you really think I'm so remote, so detached, that this wouldn't have some kind of impact on me?" Wasp says, "I'm sorry, Peter." Spider-Man replies, It's okay, Jan. To be honest, we're all a little freaked out. This wasn't exactly what any of us signed up for. Yellow Jacket, deeply worried about the situation they created, says, I still can't believe we cloned a god. Did you know Tony had been holding onto that strand of Thor's hair since the first meeting of the Avengers? What kind of man combs his furniture for hair follicles and skin cells? Wasp responds, a guy with a lot of foresight, I guess. While the three watch Mr. Fantastic, Yellow Jacket speaks again. I just can't understand why our Thor clone killed a man. Is he missing a human conscience? Do we need to fuse him with a Donald Blake or Jake Olsen to have him function properly? In detail, when the clone's skull is pierced and blood comes out, Spider-Man, attentive to this, says, do you ever wonder if we've picked the right side here, Hank? At the secret Avengers headquarters, the heroes are being tended to by nurses. Captain America, the most injured of all, raises his hand and says, appeal for amnesty. Are you insane? We just picked up another 20 supporters. Nighthawk, Tony's people are disappearing by the hour. Nighthawk responds, so what? Bill is dead and half our guys got thrown in this number 42 complex. This big shield penitentiary Reed Richards was building. With an expression of pain and anger, Captain responds, and you're willing to let them get away with that, Kyle? Cable says, the way I see it, they can do anything they like now that they got Thor on side. Kate Bishop says, that wasn't Thor. That was just one of those Frankenstein's monsters they've been growing for their superhero army. You really think Thor would have murdered Bill Foster? The nurse intervenes and says, hold still so Jane and I can finish. Ha! The conversation continues. Nighthawk, in an angry tone, says, Bill was dead the moment he thought he was bigger than the law. Gop, come on, people, let's get out of here. Luke Cage responds, what are you gonna do, Kyle? Put on those fancy high-top boots and beat up whoever they tell you to? Superheroes should be volunteers. Cassie Lang replies to Luke, saying, no, we should be the good guys. Cage. Kate Bishop, shocked, says, Cassie?
Cassie Lang responds, I'm sorry.
Kate, but I don't want to end up in that super prison like Wiccan. I want to fight villains, not cops and other superheroes. Captain America, in a tense tone, says, let them go if their freedom means so little to them. It's about time we abandon this base for a new one anyway. A mysterious masked figure in black appears, lurking in the shadows, at the exit of the secret Avengers headquarters. Nighthawk continues gesturing and says again, he's just another old man scared of the future. Cassie, he won't be happy until the whole damn team is dead. Once again, the mysterious figure observes everything from hiding. The scene shifts to Goliath's funeral in New Jersey, where Stark Industries cranes lower the giant Goliath into the grave. Many are present at the funeral, including Tony Stark and Happy Hogan, looking visibly saddened. Happy says, hell of a send OFF, given the circumstances. Tony, also mournful, responds, Guy was a superhero, Happy, and he saved a lot of lives over the years. That's something we can't forget no matter how bad this gets. They gaze at the grave, and Happy Hogan says, just a shame they couldn't shrink him down. I wonder how much his family had to shell out for these 38 burial plots. Tony replies, nothing. I took care of all the expenses. It was the least I could do. Tony Stark, still speaking, says, given the circumstances. Happy Hogan looks back and says, heads up, boss. Approaching from behind, Miriam Sharp says, Mr. Stark. Tony turns and responds, Mrs. Sharp. Eh? Miriam replies, don't worry, I'm not here to give you a hard time. I know you guys have lost a lot of support in the superhero community, and I just came by to say my piece. Miriam continues, Goliath knew what he was doing. He was breaking a law designed to save people's lives. If he'd only gone legitimate, he'd still be alive. This is no more your fault than a cop could be blamed for shooting a punk who pulls a gun on him. Tony receives an Iron Man action figure and says, Mrs. Sharp. Miriam continues, Shoo, I also wanted to give you this, my son Damien's favorite toy since he was 3 years old. Tony Stark looks closely at the action figure, and Miriam says, just to remind you why you're doing this. At the funeral, Peter Parker is also present, along with his wife, Mary Jane Watson, who looks back, and his white-haired Aunt May, Reed Richards, observing Peter Parker, says, Is it just me, or is Peter Parker acting very suspiciously? Beside him stands Eros, Star Fox. Further back, Susan Storm and Johnny Storm are deeply saddened by everything that has happened so far. Susan begins writing a letter to Reed Richards, saying, My darling Reed, I know Johnny's out of the hospital and the family's back together again. I know I should be happy, but I'm not. I'm so ashamed of you right now, and ashamed of myself for supporting your fascistic plans. I hate what I've become, and that's why I'm joining Cap's Secret Avengers team. Reflecting on the events, she climbs the stairs of her home, watching her brother and the Thing playing with her children. At dinner with her husband, Reed Richards, who is consumed with calculations. She continues her letter, Please understand, this is not another cry for attention. This is not me trying to distract you from your all-important work. This is because our hands are soaked in Bill Foster's blood, and you're so blinded by your graphs and social projections that you can't even see it. That same night, Susan Storm goes to her sleeping children's room to say goodbye. She continues her letter writing, Johnny and I will be working underground from now on, and that's obviously no place for Franklin and Valeria. That's why I've left them in your care and beg you to give them the time you have so often denied them in the past. Susan then goes to her and Reed's bedroom and leaves the letter there for him to read. She continues writing, I also didn't want your last memory of me to be tainted with all the blazing fights we've had in recent weeks. Hence the oily fish dinner, good brain food, the bottle of your favorite claret, an excellent antioxidant, and making love one final time, good for the immune system. Susan goes downstairs and meets Johnny to join Captain America and his team. She continues her letter, I hope I don't look like a coward for leaving this way. I hope you don't think I'm a bad wife or, worse still, a bad mother. I'm doing this for the best of reasons and pray that your genius can resolve this thing before one side ends up slaughtering the other. The Thing appears at the window, deeply saddened by their departure. Susan finishes the letter, writing, I love you, Reed, more than anything in the world. Please fix this. Susan Redheart. At the Avengers Tower, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Janet Van Dyne, and Happy Hogan walk and discuss the critical moment. Tony says, So how many of our guys are we losing? Reed responds, More than we can afford. A couple of Cap's people are talking about coming over, but the balance has definitively tipped in their favor after this. Janet says, Maybe we could just bring forward this 50-state initiative thing. Wouldn't these new heroes be able to get things under control again? Reed replies, Yeah, but they're still at least a month away from being finished. We need to move fast, and we need people with experience in superhuman combat. Janet says, You mean this latest iteration of the Thunderbolts you've assembled? Tony responds, After what just went down, it's the only course of action we've got left. Jan. Reed activates a button to open a maximum security prison and says, I should stress that their involvement is strictly temporary. This is just to capture Cap's team, and they'll all go back to jail immediately afterwards. Tony explains, Each and every one of them will be chipped and tagged, their every movement monitored by microscopic nanobots. As the portal begins to open, Janet says, Well, they don't exactly look thrilled about the prospect of teaming up with the Avengers. The maximum security prison opens, and Tony Stark responds to Janet Van Dyne, That's because they're not nice people. Inside are several extremely dangerous villains, including a Venom, Mac Gargan, former Scorpion, now host to the Venom symbiote, extremely dangerous, with superhuman strength, sharp claws, and teeth. Brings a brutal, almost uncontrollable edge to the team. A jack-o'-lantern villain with a flaming head expert in chemical weapons and explosives. Uses explosive pumpkins and poisonous gas. Known for his macabre appearance, a typical Spider-Man foe. Bullseye, a psychopathic assassin with perfect aim. Turns any object into a lethal weapon, cards, paperclips, knives. One of the most dangerous and unpredictable. Needing no superpowers. Taskmaster, master of combat and muscle memory. Perfectly mimics the fighting styles and movements of heroes, Captain America, Spider-Man, etc. A skilled mercenary, dangerous even without superhuman powers. Lady Deathstrike, a Japanese cyborg assassin with retractable adamantium claws. Long and sharp like blades. Songbird, Melissa Gold, white and red-haired former criminal with sonic powers. Creates solid sound constructs, flies, and attacks with devastating screams. Has a redemption arc in the future, but here she's a villain. A jester known as Jonathan Powers, though others have taken up the mantle. Dresses like a medieval court jester, colorful clothing, bell-adorned hat, sinister smile. Uses circus tricks and lethal toys as weapons, explosive tops, armed dolls. Laughing gas pistols, rubber balls that explode. Has no superhuman powers but is agile, athletic, and resourceful with his modified toys. So epic nerds, what did you think of this insane twist? Tony Stark betting everything on the Thunderbolts, a team of dangerous villains, to turn the tide in Civil War. Smash that explosive like, subscribe to the channel, drop your thoughts in the comments and share this with your friends. Stay tuned to Explosive Nerd HQ for more action, drama, and mind-blowing explosions. See you on the next page.